What if I told you that death rarely arrives without warning? That the body doesn't just shut down one day, but instead, it whispers. Softly, gently, sometimes for almost a year, not with sirens or drama like the movies, but with subtle signs most of us miss. So here's a question. Would you recognize the quiet signals your loved one might be sending? Because if you could, you wouldn't fear death. You'd understand it. You wouldn't panic. You'd prepare. And you wouldn't feel helpless. You'd be present in the moments that matter most. I've walked the halls of hospitals for over 3 decades, sat at the bedsides of people in their 70s, 80s, even 90s. And let me tell you, the human body always speaks, long before the final breath. Today, I want to share with you 5 powerful signs that often show it a year before death. Not to scare you, but to help you love better, deeper, wiser. Because this isn't about death. This is about what it means to truly live, right up until the very end. If this message already resonates with you, if you've ever cared for someone aging or ailing, hit the like button. It helps more people find this. And consider subscribing for more life-changing insights on aging, caregiving, and the quiet truths of life. Let's begin. Sign 1. A change in personality. When the mind starts to gently step back. I still remember Luna, 89 years old, a retired literature professor. She had a bold personality, loved debate, and corrected everyone's grammar, even her doctors. But during one of her last visits, she just sat quietly, smiling. No debating, no political rants, just calm. She looked at me and asked, "Doctor, are you getting enough sleep these days?" I was surprised. Later, her daughter told me, "She just watches the trees now. She doesn't say much." This is what psychologists refer to as pre-terminal emotional withdrawal. It's not depression or confusion, but a gentle detachment from the world. About a year before death, many elderly individuals begin to argue less, stop getting worked up, let go of old grudges. Not necessarily out of forgiveness, but simply because they no longer have the energy. They speak less, sit in silence more, and drift into quiet reflection. It's as if they're stepping into a garden only they can see. What you can do? Don't pull them back into life's noise. Walk beside them, ask about memories, listen. This phase often brings up stories and truths they've never shared before. Sign number 2. Reduced movement. It's normal to slow down with age, but this is different. No injuries, no falls, no pain. Yet they walk less, sleep more, avoid stairs, stop hobbies they once loved. Mr. Charles comes to mind, a man who walked every morning with coffee in hand, calling it his thinking path. Then one day, he stayed in. I asked why. He said, "It's too windy today." But there was no wind. He just didn't feel like moving anymore. What you can do, don't force them to move. Replace the walk with a gentle foot or hand massage. Assist with small motions, so they still feel seen and valued. No, this stillness isn't laziness. It's a sacred step in the journey. Sign 3. Loss of appetite. Not due to illness. Many assume that eating less is due to medication, boredom, or illness. But in reality, the body starts shutting down non-essential systems in the final year, and digestion is one of the first. Cravings disappear. Favorite meals feel like too much. Eating becomes rare, maybe just sipping fluids. I remember Mr. Jimenez, a War II veteran who loved his grilled steak every Sunday. Then one day, he gently pushed his plate aside and said, "I think I don't need it anymore." No infection, no fever, no new medications, just the body beginning its quiet release. Fair families often worry and try to force food, but that can cause more discomfort. What you can do, let meals be moments of joy, not duty. Offer warm porridge, fresh juice, or ginger tea. Invite gently, never insist. Understand that this isn't just skipping meals, it's the body quietly preparing for its farewell. If these signs have resonated with you so far, stay with us. The next 3 are the most profound and can truly change the way you care for and connect with someone in their final year. Sign 4. Brief clarity followed by confusion. One of the most confusing things for families is this. Why was Mom so alert, then suddenly so confused? In the final stages, the mind becomes extremely fragile. Even slight changes, poor sleep, mild dehydration, new medications, can cause temporary delirium. They may forget loved ones' names, see long-past relatives, speak incoherently, or blend dreams with reality. Mrs. Lilly, age 94, comes to mind. Brilliant, once tutored her grandkids in math. Then one morning she smiled at me and asked, "Doctor, have you seen my Jack today? I heard him knock this morning." Her husband, Jack, had passed away 22 years earlier, but there was no sadness in her face, just calm. I didn't correct her. I just held her hand and said, "Maybe he stopped by for a little visit. What you can do? Don't argue or try to correct them. Step into their world. Use old stories, music, or familiar scents to bring peace. Your presence matters more than logic." Sign 5. The spiritual door begins to open. Do you believe that many elderly people know when they are nearing the end? Not through tests or words, but through their gaze, their farewells, their final whispers? Mr. Richard, an artist who once painted portraits of bishops, told me quietly, "Don't tell my children. I just want a few days of silence to prepare." He drew one final picture, pencil on newspaper, of a door opening into sunlight. The next morning, he passed peacefully. A study from a palliative care center in Norway found over 82% of elderly patients experienced vivid, comforting dreams of deceased loved ones, lights, or voices in their final 2 weeks. These aren't hallucinations. They're spiritual transitions, helping people let go. What you can do: don't be afraid if they speak to a long-gone parent or a brother from the war. See it as healing. Sit beside them, listen, or just be quietly present. Let me share a memory I'll always carry. Mr. Daniel and Mrs. Esther, married for 64 years. When he was hospitalized with end-stage heart failure, doctors gave him just weeks. But Mrs. Esther, 87, refused to leave. She stayed every day and night, sleeping in a chair and eating from lunchboxes. On his final day, too weak to speak, he just lay quietly. She placed her hand on his chest and read their favorite poem. "You are not gone. You are just quietly walking to a meadow where I'll one day follow." When the poem ended, he took his last breath. No tears, just a soft breeze, as if he had stepped through a different door. If you're living with an elderly parent or grandparent and notice these signs, please don't panic. Remember, no one vanishes overnight. Death is a slow, graceful process. It begins with the gentlest whispers. When the body begins to pull away, your love becomes the greatest medicine. Say what you need to say, don't wait. And if you can, hold their hand. Touch is the final language the body remembers. Dying isn't scary. Not living the last days fully, that's what we should fear. I once asked Mrs. Margot, 95, "Are you afraid of dying?" She smiled and said, "No, I'm just afraid I won't stay clear-headed long enough to say thank you." That same day, she asked us to call each of her grandchildren. She gave her thanks, offered her blessings, then closed her eyes in peace. If you're reading this now, it means you care. And that alone, your awareness, your presence, can transform someone's final year. If this video touched your heart, please like and subscribe for more stories, insights, and reflections on aging, caregiving, and what it truly means to live.